The coding interview and the systems design interview are two different technical interview types that you will get if you're applying for a role as a software engineer. And in this video, I'm going to basically cover some of the things related to what are these types of interviews, how you can prepare for them, and also what type of things you need to know to succeed. So let's start off with the coding interview. What actually is the coding interview? Well, in a coding interview, you're generally given some sort of time limit, most commonly about 45 minutes to an hour long, to do as many programming questions as you can. And these programming questions are very similar to what you'd find on websites called LeetCode or HackerRank, which they're basically self-contained problems where there's like a description of what you need to do, and then you have to create a function or some sort of algorithm to, in essence, pass multiple tests that test the normal operation of the function and even edge cases. So to do well in these sort of interviews, you're going to need to know things like algorithms, data structures, as well as what space and time complexity is. And the good thing is that if you're able to understand what space and time complexity is and articulate that to the interviewer for what the space and time complexity is for your function, then you will do very well. Okay, so how can you prepare for this type of interview? Well, the best way to go about doing it is just to bash out as many problems as you can on websites like LeetCode and HackerRank. And just to hone in on a particular set of problems to do, I would recommend doing the blind 75, and that basically covers more or less most of the questions that you'll probably see in a coding interview, as they cover things from easy to medium to hard type of problems in all different algorithms and data structures. Okie dokie, moving on to the next type of interview, which is the system design interview. So the system design interview is there to test your overall knowledge of how to architect a product or a system. So for example, if you want to build something like Deliveroo, which is a food delivery service, then you need to be able to understand what you need for you to build in order to make that whole process work. So some of the type of interview questions you will get in this scenario is where they draw up basically like a schematic of the architecture you're working with, and then they might say, we have to replace this service with a newer service. So how would you go about doing so? And if this old service is connected to your web server, what should you add between those two items to ensure that you accommodate for the new service? So what do you specifically need to know for these type of interview questions? Well, I'd say that you need to have a good understanding of APIs, specifically RESTful APIs. On top of this, I would say you have to have a good understanding of what a load balancer is, also be aware of queues. But honestly, in general, I think if you have a good idea of AWS or any cloud infrastructure and how to build, for example, serverless architectures and so on, you have a really good base knowledge to go off. But what's the best way to prepare for these interviews? So in my opinion, the best way is to actually gain practical experience developing products and apps, because that way you're able to understand what you actually need to build a certain type of service. And in essence, if you're able to build something yourself, you're going to have a good idea of some of the problems and challenges you would face along the way. And in these sort of interviews, they often ask about, what is the problem with this method of doing something? So how would you rectify it? How would you improve it? And so on at a higher level. So another way that you can really improve on your system design interview skills is that you can try and reverse engineer as on a schematic level some existing products. So for example, if you were to take something like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp, then you can try and figure out, so what do you need to create a sort of messaging app like that? And if you're able to do this for different types of products and so on, or even just read up on the architecture behind these mainstream products and services, then you'll have a really good idea as to how to build a well-architected sort of product and engineering product. Yeah, I know this video was pretty short, but I don't think there's any more really that I need to say in relation to these types of interviews. And if you are interviewing for a software engineering role, good luck and hopefully it goes well. And also if you want to see more software or engineering related content, definitely hit subscribe, like the video, and comment down below how you've got on with your interview if you've had one. So thanks all for watching, guys, and I'll see you in another video.